What brought you to this project?
For me, it was more of a personal idea. I saw this man become busier than ever around the end of 2014. He just acquired Fort McPherson Army Base and turning it into a major motion picture studio. And it was more about for the purpose of archiving what he was doing and not wanting to miss a moment. He was also on tour. He was writing, producing, directing TV as well as film. So how do you explain to anyone how this man works without the visual? Yeah. So that was the reason.
But there's a lot more to this movie than just that. You go back into his background. How did that come about, and how did you talk him into it?
Yeah, I just wrapped, I think, a film around that time, and I just naturally said to him, it should be a documentary about you. And he said, then why don't you make it? Just jokingly. Never thought it would take us 10 years.
Oh, man.
But the origin was important. I think for me, we had to take ourselves out of the story, like what we know. We know this man for many years. I've had a front row seat at watching him work and create, but I needed to sort of take myself out of it and what I know and go back to the origin, to the source of who this man is.
Yeah.
Armani, how did you get involved?
This lovely woman right here. I was working with Puff Daddy at the time in Los Angeles, and I was making a documentary on him. And we had a mutual friend. She saw some of my work. We met for less than 20, 30 minutes, maybe. And after that, it was kismet. I feel like God drew me to her and to this project, and I didn't even know what the project was about. And I said, you know what? Whatever you need, I'm down. And then I uprooted my life, moved to Atlanta, and then 10 years later, here we are.
How did you just think at first that it was just about an army base being turned into a studio?
No. She said it was about a producer, and I didn't know, and that's where she left it at. And then, obviously, when I met Tyler, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. And, throughout the 10 years, obviously I gained a big sister in Gelila. I gained a father figure in Tyler. So, it's been one of the best things I think I'll probably ever do in my whole life.
The thing that's amazing about Tyler is he broke every rule.
A studio executive said to him, black people don't go to the movies. They were just wrong on every count when it came to Tyler.
Tyler was making hit after hit, and finally, people had to wake up.
My mother said, don't you ever let anybody tell you who you are. You know who you are.
I can't watch it without cringing.
I think you crossed the line.
What I will not do is change because some critics think it's not art.
Tyler Perry is the most successful creative genius that's not known outside of the black community. How surprised were you as you got in more and more into this, how Tyler Perry is so unknown?
I think that sort of was our motivation, big motivation. I'm not American by birth, but I live here and I love it. And this country has made it possible for me to dream and create my dreams. But I also saw how misunderstood he was. He's seen as this person who created that larger-than-life character Medea, and that's it, and he was just dismissed. But no one really understood what he was doing. Yeah. I think this motion picture studio in Atlanta that is the biggest in the U.S. has been in his, he's been dreaming about that for many years. And there's been many studios before that leading up to this, and just the entrepreneurship spirit was not recognized.
Yeah.
Did you start shooting 10 years ago? When did you start shooting this?
Oh, I started shooting 10 years ago. She started shooting way before me. So it's been a crazy endeavor, and we have over 500 terabytes of footage. I'm sure you guys know with how much that can be. And that's not including archive. No. That's just us shooting every single day. And, while we were making this process, we wanted to make sure that we kept our footprint very small, because once you get a bigger production out of it, then the subject's going to start to really feel you, and we want that open space of vulnerability.
Did he ever say, no, not this shot, shut down the camera?
There's been
1,000%.
Moments, yeah, there's been
1,000%.
Yeah, I think naturally, like any human being, you stick a camera in front of them, day in, day out, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I think the beginning sort of, we didn't approach it from like Tyler's used to being in front of the camera. No, I think we approached it from anyone, no matter how well you know them, you stick a camera, that is a very uncomfortable situation. So we needed to keep it very small, like Armani said, shotgun style. We didn't even mic him. It was, that verite, no crews, was important for us to see that quiet moments of what artists go through, like gray area. We glorify the end result, but we never get to see that middle of like working it out, that battle that goes into building something that is meaningful. I think there is this, in this young generation, even our generation, what comes next, this cutting the work in half, or just bypassing the hard work and wanting to be rich and famous is so glorified. But like anything that is meaningful and lasting, that resonates with people and impacts others, takes time, takes planning, takes really understanding your community and beyond.
Well, that's what he thinks too, because he puts everything in his head and knows exactly how much shooting he has to do.
Oh, yeah.
But I understand that there were times when you had like a whole day of shooting and didn't know if you got what you wanted. Can you talk about how you elbow each other and say, but get this, or don't get this?
I think that's the beauty of 10 years. We allowed ourselves patience. We allowed ourselves grace. Because that is documentaries. Sometimes you get something that's amazing and you can't believe that you caught lightning in a bottle. And majority of the time, it's nothing happened. Nothing absolutely happened. And I would call Gelila, I'm like, hey, she's like, I will keep filming. And I'm like, all right, no problem. But, I think that if you fall in love with that process, then you kind of gain those lightnings in the bottle moments.
During the filming, there's so many emotional moments.
Yes, sir.
About his mother, especially his father. He kept it together. Did you ever cry? Did you ever cry watching this unfold in front of you? This heartbreaking, heart-wrenching story.
Yeah, we broke down several times a day sometimes. How do you reconcile? How do you, I think when we talk about love and healing with words, it's so light. But in practice, watching that in practice of like who this man is pretty spectacular. And it's also a story of fatherhood, right? He has a son, he pours all his love into this little boy, but his experience was nothing but the opposite of that. So the question about, are we born with love and kindness, or is it taught? Watching this man wake up every day, love the world brightly, as if he did not experience all of that trauma, is for me what sort of like superheroes are made of.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is that he knows what it is to have pain, and he wanted to have the opposite, but also his mother taught him quite a bit. Can you talk about his mother?
No, Maxine is the lifeblood of this film and also the soul of Tyler Perry. When we saw those bits of clips that you see in the documentary, those archives, we looked at each other and we were like, this is it. Yeah. A woman that was so kind, that went through so much and loved her son to the day that, unfortunately she passed away. You see that beaming through Tyler. And to know the type of man that he is because of her, and then to hear those type of stories, what he went through, it is heartbreaking. And, we did cry a lot, and he cried a lot. And, that's why we wanted to take our time and really give this story to an audience. We're like, hey, this can be possible. See yourself in this so that you can also achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve.
Yeah. But it's interesting that a man who went through such pain also likes to make other people laugh. Can you tell me lightning in a bottle that you found with him, and also things that maybe while you were shooting made you laugh?
He's a very funny individual. Naturally, he's really funny.
Yeah.
And I think, like what you said, is perfectly. I think comedy is pain in time.
Oh, nicely said.
So it's
That's cool.
sort of like you. That lightness is what kept him going. I think to survive, you have to use imagination and lightness to get through whatever he went through as a child and forward as he grew up. But I think it's also his way making these heavy topics palatable
Yeah.
for his audience through comedy and through lightness. And, you know, every day he pranks Armani.
I can tell you stories. I can tell you
Tell us
stories.
tell us a story.
Well, let's see. One of the very few times, obviously, we were working at the studio, and the studio just opened up. Maybe like, what was that, 6 years ago now, and he's like, Armani, I need this thing real quick. We're opening up a new stage, and I'm like, yes, sir. And I'm running to go get my camera. As soon as I go into my office, silly string everywhere.
TP,
And the camera's gone. He's like, did you get the camera? And I'm like, sir. And then he just starts dying laughing at the end. And that's the beautiful thing about Tyler. It's, yes, he's successful, and yes, you know, he's achieved so many things, and he's gone through so many horrific things, but he never allowed hope in that kid to die inside of him. And I think that it's just beautiful to see something like that, because it's so unique.
Couple of things as we're just about out of time. We're not going to give away the gasp-worthy moment in this movie, but you didn't see this coming either. When there's a huge revelation in here.
I hope we were talking about the same moment that I think we're talking about, but no,
we almost passed out.
Yeah, when it was one of those situations. Yeah, it was. You know, we were filming it, and you know, it was after like a 2-hour session, and you know, he gave the answer that he gave, not trying to spoil anything, and then me and Gelila were just like, you got it.
You called me, and I
called her. I'm like, you won't believe what I just got.
Yeah, and
she
I
was like,
I have to see this
sure.
footage.
And she
I was like,
just
no way.
hung up on me, but it was a magic moment. It was those little lightning in the bottle.
Yeah, and I guess to as we wrap up, how have you changed as filmmakers going through this experience? Tyler Perry would never take 10 years to make a movie, right?
Not yet.
How has this experience changed you as filmmakers?
Wow.
Growth, you know, if being around someone like that, if it's not like a master class, you know, learn so much about the craft and the business aspect. For me, my company also produced this film. It's the first big film that I, on my own, again, just encouraging me to, as an entrepreneur, not only as a filmmaker. I've been an indie filmmaker for many years, and now to have this partnership with Amazon has been life-changing. But also, again, going back to that love and healing in practice for me, I think I like to believe we come into this business to sort of heal our own brokenness and heal. And for me, it has brought a lot of healing and closer to the things that have been in the back of my heart for a long time.
Can you tell me what his reaction was the first time he saw it?
He said that he cried. You know, that was one of our most nervous moments because we sent it right before we gave it to Amazon. And he came out and he said that he cried. He said that it was beautiful. You know, thankfully, I'm still blessed enough to have my mother present with me. But for him, I think it was the first time that he's heard his mom's voice in over 10 years because he didn't know that we took that archival footage. And, you know, for him to see his life, to see his journey, and then to see his reason why on screen speaking about him, I think it must have been so powerful and moving for him. So,
What's the most satisfying thing from making this movie for you? Each of you.
For me, it's more about the legacy. I think about our son seeing this film when he's old enough and understanding a little bit more about his father. You know, we try to teach our children about work ethic and how we all need each other in this world and kindness. And to have this film be sort of the lead is what I look forward to.
And have this for your son as well.
Yeah. For me, Tyler's taught me that none of this is about me. You know, the gifts that God has given me isn't for me to become successful or, you know, to be the best filmmaker in the world. It's to make other people's dreams come true. So between that and the relationships that I've received between Gelila and Tyler and everyone in the studio is something that, you know, I feel almost unworthy of having because it's so amazing.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.